The champagne was blue. It shimmered in crystal flutes, passed from tentacled servers to claws, pincers, and gloved fingers. The grand hall of Galaxis Concordia glittered like the inside of a geode, its transparent walls overlooking a dying red giant. Peace looked beautiful on the surface. Captain Imani Voss didn't drink. She stood near the periphery, eye scanning the crowd like a sniper lining up targets. Her black diplomatic uniform, trimmed in silver, bore no rank, only a single Earth sigil on the chest. She didn't need medals to prove who she was. Anyone paying attention could see the way she stood. Calm, ready, dangerous. "Captain," Ambassador Thomas Reeves whispered beside her. "Would it kill you to smile?" "It might," she replied, not taking her eyes off the delegates. Reeves chuckled and moved toward the central platform, where dignitaries prepared for the evening's address. Voss watched him go, resisting the urge to call him back. He was good at the speeches. She was good at what happened when speeches failed. The crowd parted slightly as a towering reptilian figure entered, the Xur strategist, Chlorthax. Cold gold eyes, scarred scales, a neck crest that pulsed slowly, measuring threat levels. The Xur never blinked. Voss met his gaze for a beat longer than protocol allowed. The strategist didn't nod, didn't acknowledge, just turned away. Noted. A chime rang out. Lights dimmed. The Conclave's Supreme Chancellor, a vaporous entity in a crystalline containment suit, hovered forward to open the summit. Voss shifted her stance. Something felt off. Not a sound, not a sight, just the air. It had changed, subtly. Denser. Warmer. She tapped the scanner embedded in her cuff. A passive sweep. Nothing immediate. Still. A tiny whirring sound. She turned sharply. A drone, the size of an apple, buzzed near the speaker platform. A basic recording unit. Conclave standard. It drifted closer, then twitched. Voss's instincts flared. She moved. "Down," she shouted, lunging forward. The explosion hit like a gut punch. Light, heat, and static shattered the air. Screams ripped through the hall as smoke billowed from the blast center. Cracks snaked across the crystalline floor. One of the towering pillars groaned. Voss was already moving, eyes scanning for secondary threats. Her ears rang, but she registered voices. "The Xur ambassador, he's down." "What happened?" "Human drone. They used a drone." Her heart sank. A figure stumbled from the smoke. Chlorthax, scales scorched, one eye blistered shut. Behind him, his personal guard dragged a limp body. Ambassador Rylax of Azur, clearly dead. The strategist's good eye locked onto Voss. "You call this diplomacy?" he hissed. The hall erupted into chaos. Species shouted in a dozen languages. Security bots began ushering delegates away. Reeves stumbled toward her, dazed, blood trailing from his temple. "Imani, they're saying we did it." She pulled him behind a shattered column. "Of course they are. We just became the easy target." Chlorthax turned to the Conclave representatives, voice amplified by an internal modulator. "The human drone carried the charge. I demand immediate sanctions. Earth is a threat to galactic peace." "You're lying," Voss said, not loudly, but clearly. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. A hologram flared into existence above the platform. Conclave records. Drone ID. Earth Diplomatic Unit 114B. Flight path. Entry log. All pointing to the same thing. Too clean. Too perfect. Voss stared at the data. She'd overseen those drones. She knew how Earth tagged them, encrypted their routes. This one had been forged by someone who understood human systems almost too well. "This is sabotage," she muttered. Reeves looked at her, shaken. "They'll believe what they want to believe. It doesn't matter." She straightened. "It matters to me." A voice chimed in her ear. "Secure comms from Earth's embassy ship. Captain Voss, return to base immediately. Conclave security is investigating. You are not authorized to interfere." She tapped her comm off. Authorization rescinded. Reeves grabbed her arm. "What are you going to do?" "Find the truth. Before they burn Earth for a crime we didn't commit." 2 hours later, Concordia's upper rings had emptied. Emergency crews buzzed around the blast site. Voss, now in civilian attire, slipped through a maintenance access shaft, eyes on a retinal scanner she'd borrowed from a stunned security tech. She reached the primary drone relay station, a vault of data crystals and auto-recorded logs. Time to get her hands dirty. She pulled up the drone's mission history. Its signature had been injected into the registry just hours before the event. But metadata didn't lie. Creation timestamp, node origin, access trail. The log didn't come from Earth. It came from a relay node tied to a Xur warship in orbit. She stared at it, stunned, before backing out and wiping all traces of her access. Someone had gone to great lengths to frame Earth, and they'd almost succeeded. Her comm beeped again. Unfamiliar voice. Sharp mandible clicked. You shouldn't be here. Voss turned, hand at her belt. An insectoid woman stepped forward, tall, elegant, with translucent wings tucked tightly. Of Valari. I'm Sarah, the alien said. Junior attaché. I watched you during the summit. You don't believe the evidence. Voss narrowed her eyes. You spying on me? Observing, Sarah said. Your people are terrifying, but you don't act like warmongers. I think someone wanted the galaxy to think otherwise. Voss didn't lower her guard. Why are you helping? Because if they can do this to your kind, we're next. She hesitated, then held out a data crystal. Everything I pulled before the conclave scrubbed it. Take it. Voss accepted the drive. This is treason. Sarah tilted her head. Truth often is. As they parted ways in the shadows of Concordia, Voss uploaded a silent message to her old squad. One line. Black halos. Wake up. We've got a war to stop. Orbiting Concordia, the night was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Voss leaned over a holodable inside the Black Halo's hidden dropship, the Eidolon. No insignias. No registry. Built for operations no one officially sanctioned. Her team was already assembling. Jax, her demolitions expert, chewed on dried fruit, unbothered. So, someone forged a drone's ID, staged a political assassination, and made Earth the galaxy's new punching bag. Voss nodded. And now they've silenced half the logs from Concordia's core. Someone buried the trail fast. Which means they're scared, muttered Sergeant Lin Tao, running a scanner through the data Sarah had smuggled out. And careful. Whoever did this didn't expect you to start digging this soon. They underestimated us, Voss said. Let's make that hurt. Lin tapped the console. Found something. The drone's flight signature didn't originate from Earth command systems. Its point of injection traces back to a proxy relay, hidden under a Xurcom's node. Voss crossed her arms. They used our protocols against us. Rewritten decode mimicry, Lin confirmed. Efficient. Precise. Definitely not brute force. Jax tilted his head. So, Xur, Voss's voice dropped. Or someone using the Xur to start the war. The room went still. She turned back to the holotable. They've made their move. Time for ours. Back on Concordia's underdeck, Sarah guided them through an unmarked corridor, half storage, half maintenance, not listed on any official schematic. I shouldn't be doing this, she muttered, antennas twitching. The Valari observe. We don't interfere. You interfered when you handed me that crystal, Voss said, eyes sharp. Now finish it. Sarah flinched, but nodded. The local core servers still retain backup parity records. If we cross-check the logs with velocity drift markers, we can isolate the exact source of the drone's path and prove the edits were made post-incident. You're saying we can reverse it? Lin asked. More like unwind the lie. They entered a hollowed bay, lit only by red diagnostic lights. Cables snaked across the floor. The hum of processors was constant. Jax plugged in. Give me 15 minutes. You've got 7, Voss said. While Jax worked, Sarah leaned against a bulkhead, studying Voss. You're not what I expected from a human soldier. Disappointed. Surprised. You don't kill first. That's rare out here. Voss didn't smile. We learned early that mercy is just a weapon with a slower trigger. Jax let out a low whistle. Got it. Playback stream reconstructed. You're going to want to see this. A projection flickered to life. Security footage, unedited. The drone didn't ignite near the Xur ambassador. It detonated 3 meters away. The shock wave killed him indirectly, but not randomly. Then came the damning frame. A Xur security officer subtly guiding the drone's path with a micromagnetic field. The weapon wasn't out of control. It was steered. Son of a... Lin began. They killed their own. Syrah whispered, horrified. No, Voss corrected. They sacrificed one of their own. Big difference. She snapped a copy of the footage. We're sending this to Earth Command. Quietly. Lin's comms lit up. Hold that. Priority feed from Earth. You need to see this now. Voss opened the channel. A recorded broadcast blinked to life. Earth's colonies along the periphery were under attack. Unmarked fleets, Xur design. Civilian transports lost. Stations breached. Reeves' voice came through, half panic. The Conclave won't respond. They've frozen all diplomatic routes. They're calling for Earth's disarmament. Jax leaned back, stunned. They want us to kneel before we even get a chance to speak. Voss was silent. Then she keyed in a secure override. Activate Protocol, Athena. On the Eidolon, the ship AI stirred. Systems long dormant blinked online. You sure? Lin asked quietly. Too late for careful. Voss said. It's time the galaxy remembers who we are. Hours later, Earth disappeared from the galactic net. One by one, human relay stations blacked out. Civilian broadcasts ceased. Tracking systems returned silence. To the Conclave, it looked like retreat. Surrender. To those who understood war, it was the sound of blades being sharpened. Chlorthax stood before the fractured remains of his late ambassador's funerary shell. His claws tightened. Status of the Concordia leak, he barked to his adjutant. Suppressed. The Volari may suspect, but no proof has spread. Chlorthax clicked his teeth. Then our strike was effective. But the humans, they've gone dark. Entire networks offline. The strategist snarled. Then they prepare for war. Let them. We are ready. But his eye twitched. He'd expected protests. Demands. Screams. Silence was more dangerous. Back aboard the Eidolon, the crew sat around a narrow war table. Voss brought up their last recon sweep. Earth is activating its deep shadow fleets, she said. Assets hidden since the old war. Sleeper satellites. Ghost AI rigs. Outposts no one remembers. Lin frowned. Do we have allies? Syrah stepped forward. The Volari are neutral, but I'll speak to our elders. After seeing that footage, some might listen. And if they don't? Jax asked. Then you stand alone, she said, but not invisible. Voss looked over the star chart. Enemy fleets were moving. Colonies dying. The truth buried under layers of fear. But Earth had been here before. No one remembered how close they'd come to extinction during their first crawl into the stars. Now the galaxy would learn one thing. Humanity never forgets. Voss closed her eyes briefly, then spoke with calm certainty. They lit a fire thinking we'd burn, but all they did was give us a reason to rise. The first Xur warship burned over the mining colony of Kesari Prime. No warning, no broadcast, just a streak of fire across the upper atmosphere, followed by silence. From the Eidolon's war room, Captain Voss watched the destruction unfold in real time. The orbital feed flickered as Xur jammers flooded comm lanes. They weren't just testing Earth's resolve, they were gutting its reach. Lin Tao entered with fresh data. 6 colonies hit in 4 hours. Civilian losses in the thousands. And Earth Command is still stuck waiting for Conclave approval to respond. They're stalling us to death. Jax growled. No, Voss said calmly. They're trying to starve our will. She looked around the table. Then let's show them what hunger does to wolves. On the far edge of the galactic fringe, deep beneath the dust fields of Nemea, 12, a long-forgotten weapons platform stirred. Its command core, silent for over a century, woke with a pulse of heat and vengeance. Operation Grave Choir had begun. We're not going to win this through numbers, Lin said, hunched over the tactical feed. Xur fleets outgun us 2-1. That's fine, Voss replied. We'll use something they don't have. Desperation? Jax asked dryly. No. Imagination. She opened a private channel. Syrah appeared on the holopad, breathless, wings twitching. Volari Council blocked my petition. They voted for neutrality. Again. You expected that. Voss said. Cira nodded. But I found something. Hidden archives. Buried from the public. Centuries ago, the Xur broke a treaty with a synthetic species, the Archivians. Wiped them out. Or so they claimed. I've read about them, Lynn said. AI-driven culture. More data than weaponry. Exactly, Cira said. But their last beacon flared 3 hours ago. Jax frowned. That's impossible. They've been dead for 200 years. Voss leaned forward. Unless someone made them think we're worth waking up for. The Eidolon dropped into dead space, orbiting a hollow planetoid called Luma's Edge. The surface was quiet, lifeless, until a hidden bay opened beneath them. Voss stepped inside alone. Walls glowed with cold blue light. Tall, silent figures stood in alcoves, humanoid, metallic, but not machines. Not quite. Their eyes flickered with buried memory. You are not Xur. One spoke. I'm human, she said. You sent a beacon. The Archivian tilted its head. We remember fire. And betrayal. Why are you here? Because it's happening again. But not to you this time. The AI studied her. You seek alliance? No, Voss said. I seek justice. A pause. Then, your kind thinks like us. Another step forward. We will not fight for you, but we will help you see. With a flicker, a new star map expanded across the bay. Xur fleet positions, supply chains, black site labs, and cloaked satellite grids. All of it exposed. The Archivian leader looked at her. Strike with precision. Make them bleed, not scatter. Voss bowed her head slightly. That's the plan. 12 hours later, the first Earth response unit struck a hidden Xur munitions plant near the gas moon of Hecary. Voss didn't lead it. She didn't have to. The data spoke louder than her presence. Conclave observers watched the footage. Xur weapon stockpiles meant for defensive operations, being loaded for deployment to human colonies. The leak spread fast. Cira ensured it did. By the next cycle, smaller species began to hesitate. Alliances loosened. The Xur weren't the victims anymore. They were architects of a planned extermination. But even exposed, the Xur pressed forward, and Earth responded. On the edge of the Atheron Rift, Voss stood inside her command chamber. The Eidolon was running a stealth pattern over a major Xur rally point, coordinates received from the Archivians, passed through encrypted Volari channels. They won't expect a strike here, Lynn whispered. They will now, Voss replied. That's why we're not here to strike. She activated the beacon. Across the system, 30 ghost drones, the same models Earth had once hidden away during disarmament treaties, descended silently. Not to fire, not to kill, to reveal. Cloaked ships shimmered into visibility as the drones pinged them, with light pulses tied to their stealth fields. Earth wasn't fighting in the shadows anymore. They were dragging the enemy into the open. The Xur fleet commander broadcast a message, furious and rattled. This is cowardice. You blind us with trickery, not strength. Voss sent a reply. Strength isn't loud. It's what survives the silence. Back on Concordia, the conclave fractured. Minor species called emergency votes. Volari delegates walked out mid-session. Accusations flared. Footage poured in of Earth ships disabling Xur strike teams without killing them. Controlled, measured, calculated. It wasn't war. It was proof. And the galaxy was watching. But Earth's patience wasn't infinite. On the 13th day, the Xur crossed a final line, targeting a human refugee ship near the Arcosi belt. They fired on it after it had declared non-combat status. 700 lives lost. Most of them children. No more restraint. No more optics. Earth's first orbital carrier group emerged from cryo-shielding near the edge of Arcosi. It didn't fire warnings. It fired truth. Later, in a private conclave debrief, Voss stood before the chamber. You framed us, she said to Chlorthax, who was still recovering from his self-inflicted injuries. You murdered your own and called it diplomacy. Chlorthax hissed. We expose where you are. Brutal. Uncompromising. Voss stepped forward. No, she said softly. You reminded us. We didn't change who we were. We hid it, so the galaxy could sleep easy. But now you've seen what we left buried." She turned to the council. "Let this be a lesson. We came to the stars to build, but if you force our hand, we'll end things so thoroughly, no one will remember the beginning." Silence followed. Then, slowly, one delegate stood. Then another. No applause. No cheers. Just recognition. Earth wasn't the monster in the dark. They were the match the galaxy dared to strike, forgetting fire has a memory.